Hello, I just wanted to talk about Vesteria since I feel like this is probably the most MMO-like game I can find on a platform, where I actually have some fun playing it. To start off, like most MMO, you begin with creating your character. The customization part is mostly just basic stuff like hair, face, and basic clothing. You can re-customize your character later, but it will just cost some mush coin, which are the in-game currency. After that, you'll start in Mush Town, which is a starter town, and begin following the main story quest, with the tutorial. The tutorial is basically teaching you basic mechanics and profession as well as helping you out the people in Mush Town until you're level 10. When you reach level 10, you will continue on the main quest and go to Nilgarth. When you reach Nilgarth, this is where you can pick one of the three classes: Warrior, Mage, or Hunter. Alternatively, you can choose to stay as an adventurer. For new players, I will advise you not to stay as an adventurer when you start. This is essentially crippling you, as most gear you find is tied to a class and you only have rock throw, magic missiles, and regeneration. There is a way to reset class later, so you don't have to stay as an adventurer immediately when you start. But if you really want to play as an adventurer, I can't stop you. So after you decide on your first class, you can decide to go to the area your class is occupying to continue the main quest, or explore on your own. This is basically concludes how the game generally runs. You can level up at your own pace or go find better equipment. Either way is up to you. But the first thing I want to talk about a little is about the stats. Each of the 4 stats you can allocate boosts your character or gives perk depending on how many points are allocated, and certain stats will be able to change the skill variance. For example, mages don't usually put points into strength, but if you put 30 strength on a mage, your mana bomb will be able to change into sonic bomb, which is a faster, low cooldown and piercing mana bomb. While not very necessary, I still like it. It feels like it gives a bit more variation to different playstyle. If you are unhappy with your stats, you can buy stat reset tome at one of the area called Tree of Life for 300 silver mush coin. That's about 300,000 bronze mush coin, since 1,000 bronze mush coin is 1 silver. For equipment, this gets messy very fast, as certain equipment have special skill or ability attached to them. These can modify certain skills or grant you completely new skills as long as you are equipping the item. I actually think this is a pretty cool system. Also, you don't have to worry about that low level equipment with ability is not good when you reach higher level. There is a way to increase the item level, but it will just take some time to get material to do that. Anyway, I also want to talk about modifiers and the scroll system. When you get an item drop, there's a chance that the equipment you got will have a modifier attached to it. Most of them will give additional boosts like increased damage and stat boosts. This makes having modifiers on your equipment that align with your build very different from not having it. Also about the scroll system, you can apply scrolls to your equipment, which is another way to enhance. If you have a weapon or armor that you really like, don't just put on a random scroll because it is very expensive to get it removed, or you have to get a new one. The stronger the scroll, the lower the success chance is, and each failed scroll will reduce your upgrade count by 1, and can only be recovered by another expensive item, the Holy Scroll. So a lot of time you are gambling your equipment. There is also the Curse Scroll, which has a 20% chance to destroy your equipment. But in return, you can potentially get higher boosts and additional stat buff, which can be very powerful. If your equipment has a modifier of Pristine or Legendary, they will have lower chances of being destroyed by the Curse Scroll, with Legendary having 50% chance and Pristine was 25% chance to be not destroyed. However, if for whatever reason you somehow got equipment with a Mystic modifier, then that will never be destroyed by the Curse Scroll. There are also a lot of different types of scroll, and each scroll will say what piece is for. Like Armor Scroll can only be used for armor, and Headgear Scroll can only be used for headgear. Or is it for Spider Weapon or Ocean Armor? They all benefit you either way, but in the end it still depends on whether or not you want to gamble it. For professions, you have fishing and mining. Fishing allows you to fish up different type of fish that can give you a boost when consumed. The minigame involved require you to move the bobber to a certain spot to gain progress. The minigame is not terrible, but it only allows you to move left or right, and the speed of you reeling in the fish is depending on what fish you have hooked up. To me, it's quite difficult since the bobber also slides a lot. I mess up a lot. Maybe it'll get better the more you get used to fishing, but I don't know. On the other hand, for mining, you need to equip a pickaxe and hold your attack button to charge the pickaxe, then hit a rock to start the minigame. The minigame just requires you to click on yellow spot and eventually the ore will break. When you reach a certain mining level, you will unlock crafting recipe for pickaxe, ingot, lantern, and scrolls. The recipe can be used at the smeltery in the Redwood Stronghold map, where you can use coal to power it up. Also, some of the equipment requires certain types of ingot to be reforged, so the ingots aren't entirely useless outside of crafting pickaxe and lanterns. Although I think the profession is alright, there are some parts I find it a bit annoying aside from the grind to level up. For both fishing and mining, it requires you to equip tools to gather resource, but if you get attacked by an enemy, it will cancel out of the minigame. Also, when you get attacked, you can't switch equipment. This makes it so you need to either run away or use your ability, but most classes can't even use their class ability without proper weapon, which makes it pretty annoying when you are mid fishing or mining and an enemy spawn near you. Other than that, I don't think I have a problem with the profession system. Talking about the dungeons in Vesteria. Generally, all the dungeons feel like they are designed for 4 or 5 people to complete, with difficulty of normal or lower suitable for higher level player to clear by themselves. There are also many dungeons where you fight bosses to get reward. The dungeons are mostly group content, so I wouldn't recommend other people to do it by themselves. There is also a new mini dungeon in collaboration with another Roblox game, Fantastic Frontier, which lets you fight Circus from Rat Boy's Nightmare and have a chance to get gear from Fantastic Frontier, like the Gnome Rocket Launcher, Frontier Greatsword, and Rat Boy's Handgun. I do like the collab, but the rat token used to enter the mini dungeon takes pretty long to get without the use of Nightmare Lure, which is an item that increases the spawn rate for mobs with increased chance to turn mob into nightmare mobs that drop rat tokens. Though it is cool to use gears from Fantastic Frontier. In addition to all the things you can do in Vesteria, you can also rebirth. Rebirth is basically the system to respec or change the class of your character. To rebirth, you need to be level 30 or above and have enough space in your inventory to store all your equipment and gear. The place you need to go is the tallest mountain in Redwood Stronghold, and find an NPC on the opening of the mountain near the top. This could be a little bit time consuming to reach, as it is very hard to climb up and easy to slip off the side of the mountain. Alternatively, if you have a flying mount, you can just fly up without walking or jumping on it. When you talk to an NPC and press you want to be reborn, you will be reset to level 10. Stats and skill points will be refunded, and every quest progress will reset, as well as all your classes. Anything else like currency, inventory item, or overworld chest progress will be kept. This either lets you switch to a different class, or complete quests for rewards again, and is the only way to get extra copies of equipment that is from quest completion without buying from other players. The rebirth system also has another function, that is, if you rebirth at level 50 or higher, your rebirth count will go up by 1. This allows you to receive a holy scroll every rebirth, and every 5th rebirth you will get a magnificent holy scroll, which remove all failed upgrade attempts from a single equipment. On top of that, you'll also get 5% XP boost and 1 extra stat point for every rebirth that caps out when you rebirth 19 times. This means that you will come back 1 point stronger every time you rebirth this way, up till your rebirth count reaches 20. This last thing I'm going to talk about is the most frustrating thing I found in the game, which is the bank. Initially, I saw it was a convenient thing where you can just store items that you probably won't need yet, but this is much more worse than that. First, each weapon and armor count as one slot by themselves. I don't have a problem with that, but then you look at the scrolls. Each scroll can only stack up for 7 for each type, and with this many type of scroll in the game, your bank count filled extremely fast. I get that it's really fast to use them, but I'm not using the scroll on any random gear I found. Like, there's no reason for me to immediately use all my ancient intelligence scroll on the sword I am using. This also means the same to curse scroll. I'm not going to use it to destroy the gear I'm currently using. I might use it in the future, but there's no reason to randomly use it. The stack sync works for every type of scroll. This includes all variants of Holy Scroll, Redo Scroll, and Reset Scroll. These are all expensive items that do better in the long run if you need them, as player shop fluctuates very quickly and are a long grind just to get a handful of them. With this said, items such as skill and stat reset tome also do not stack. While it is good to have these on hand, but I don't use reset tome every time I get one. The same thing can be said to the extremely low drop chance items and copies for its curse scrolls. I just feel like it's not very worth it to sell it. Not only that, the bank is shared with all your characters on your account, so essentially all excess item that can't fit into your inventory either needs to be sold or find some other way to store them. Anyway, the overall experience of playing is fun, but the bank system makes it hard for me to continue, as I'm constantly considering what items are not needed, or I need to make space, since the scroll is filling up. And I am not creating other characters just to store items on their inventories. I don't want to check through what each character has every time I forgot which one has the item I'm looking for. So that's all I have to say about this game.